Hi, Giresh.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. How are you?
I'm fine.
It's good. Good to see you. What time is it there?
5:30.
5:30. Wow. What time do you normally wake up?
Can you repeat again? I didn't hear.
Sorry?
आपने अभी क्या कहा मेरे को समझ नहीं आया.
यूजुअली कितने बजे उठते हो?
मैं ऐसा तो कोई फिक्स नहीं है.
कुछ नहीं है. लेकिन इतनी जल्दी से नहीं उठते होगे ना?
नहीं, इतनी जल्दी कभी नहीं उठता.
That's a good boy. You say in grade 9, right? Grade 10.
10.
10. Very nice. What subjects are you taking?
We need to have till 10th class we have to take all subjects.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I forgot. It's been such a long time. You know when I passed grade 10? Make a guess. Let me give you a hint. It was 1900 something. Not 1800.
I didn't understand what you said.
हाँ?
समझ नहीं आया कि आपने भी क्या कहा.
किस साल में, किस सन में हम हाई स्कूल पास किए? ग्रेड 10. गेस करो ऐसी.
Yes, correct.
तो म्यूट पे चले गए.
Before independence.
No, not that old. Which year was independence?
1947.
Right. I was born that year.
Oh. मुझे आपसे एक वर्ड समझना था चैप्टर 2 का.
हाँ तो जो लिखा था उस दिन.
वही.
हाँ तो किसी कॉल के पहले या कॉल के बाद हमको तुम कॉल करो. ओ हरे कृष्णा. नंदी मुखी कैसी हो?
बस बिल्कुल ठीक है पिताश्री. मैं 2-3 मिनट चाहिए मुझे. मैं सबको कॉल करने लगी हूँ. इट्स ओके.
थैंक यू.
वो भूल जाते हैं बच्चे.
आई नो.
मेरे पास आपका नंबर नहीं है.
तो अभी लिख लो.
तो किस समय कांटेक्ट करूंगा फिर?
बेस्ट टाइम है जब हमारा 11-12 बजा हो. मीन्स बेसिकली 9 o'clock योर टाइम. 9 PM. 9 PM 10 PM समथिंग लाइक दैट. हरे कृष्ण नम्रता माता जी. हरे कृष्ण राम प्रिया प्रभु.
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु.
कैसे हो?
Good. How are you?
Very good. Thanks for joining today.
How are you doing, Prabhuji?
I'm doing well, mother. How are you?
Yeah. So far, so good, Prabhuji.
So far, so good. That's good. Is it raining in Vancouver today?
No, Prabhuji. It's hot.
That's good. Well, it was always raining in Vancouver.
Oh, it may start soon.
Yeah. Hare Krishna Rani. Hare Krishna Rani.
think seems like some audio issue.
No, I don't think she can hear me.
Yeah, it is showing connecting to audio.
Okay.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hi, Satwankil, how are you?
I am good. How are you?
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
How's East York?
How's East York? It was raining yesterday, I guess, and day before, but it's all right. I
Okay.
am familiar with the area, so it's nice.
Oh yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Just waiting for the temple to open now.
Oh, I know, yeah.
Like Janmashtami, Radha Ashtami, everything's
It's
just
all gone, yeah. All the major festivals are done.
yeah, Rath
Just
Yatra
the
too.
Govardhan Puja.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna Shilpi, how are you? And I see Anju Mataji there as well.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, so good to see you. How are you doing today?
Good, I'm fine. How are you?
Good, thanks. And Mamta has got her video on today. Yay!
That long.
First time. That's very nice. Okay, so it's 8:03. Let's start with our prayers, and I'll share the screen and put the prayers on. And there you go. Okay, please join me. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshetarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyev cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Okay, let's see. Yeah. So, I see Astha there as well. Hare Krishna Astha.
Haribol.
How are you?
Good there now. Haribol.
Wonderful. And I see Sonia Mataji and I see Prem Prabhu or Sudham Madhu Mataji, somebody, one of them.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Mother, good to see you.
Thank
There you are.
Hare Krishna.
And I see Sangeeta Mataji also. That's nice. Okay. So any questions from last week? Thank you. Any questions from last week?
I have a question regarding the text 5. I was reading through the purport and yeah, I thought of asking you more details related to that.
Okay, go ahead. What's the question?
Okay, regarding the text 5, there is a sentence, purport sentence saying the Lord is represented by material qualities, but the form of God, though represented by material qualities such as stone, wood, or oil paint, is not actually material. So,
yes.
What does that really mean? Because the stone, all those are actually presented in the materialistic life, right?
So basically, what it's saying is that you and I cannot see anything that is not material. So therefore, the Lord's deities are built or made, constructed of metal, wood, marble, it could be even painting or wood, etc. But once you start worshipping it, then turns from a statue to a deity, then the substance it's made of stops being material. It actually turns into something transcendental. That's what it is saying.
Okay.
Okay? And that is the difference between a statue and a deity. Deity is non-different from the Lord, and you worship it. Statues could be just, you buy it, put it somewhere in a corner, it's a statue.
Okay.
Okay?
So it's not like a literal meaning, it's more of like as we worship, we will get involved and we will think.
Yeah,
That's how-
as you worship, actually the Lord enters into this and therefore turns it into something non-material. And then it's non-different from the Lord itself. You can feed it, you put it to sleep, you change clothes, you bathe it, and all those kind of things. You won't do that to a statue.
Is it something we call like prana pratisthapana?
Yes, exactly right. That's exactly right. Okay, you got it.
Yeah. And one more thing, in the same purport, God has an authorized representation in the deity form. It is called Ark Vigraha.
Archa Vigraha.
Oh, Archa Vigraha.
Yes.
Archa Vigraha means?
Vigraha means deity.
Yeah.
And Archa means something you're doing worship of. So Archa Vigraha is the deity you're worshipping.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sure. Anybody else? Okay. So then in that case, I'm going to ask you, what do you
At
remember?
home in the puja house, right?
I'm sorry?
Sorry, can you hear me, Prabhuji?
Namata Mataji, yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Actually, the idols what we have at home, we don't do prana pratishtha and all in that puja. We sometimes have photo frames also, right? But still, can we imagine that they still come in that and they are there?
If you're worshipping it properly, you don't have to imagine. It is
It
non-different
is.
from Krishna.
It is?
Yeah.
Okay.
It is,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
It's not imagination.
Okay.
And see, that's what I was saying. Like you could have same picture on a calendar, but because you don't worship it, it's not your Archa Vigraha. But you take a picture, you put it on an altar, you start worshipping it, then it becomes non-different from Krishna.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Right?
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Sure, no worries. Okay, all right. So please tell me if you remember or what you remember from last class, something that's stuck in your mind.
That I am a bronze in a bronze level right now. Work for God.
Very good, very good. Excellent.
Well, I am trying my best to go help in the temple, help the deities if they need anything, and feel that everything is given by God, and also so I've got that laugh.
I really appreciate your honesty. That's wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, somebody else was going to say something.
You also told about the personalist and impersonalist.
Yes, very important. Yes, what else?
Never take credit for whatever you have done. Just think that it's the Krishna's wish, what is happening in your life, and whatever is you get it, it's Krishna's blessings on you.
Okay, absolutely right. Absolutely right. Right. And you remember that Krishna is being very flexible. He's saying, fix your mind. If you can't fix your mind, then basically follow the regulatory principles. If you can't even do that, then just work for me by helping people who are serving in the temple, or otherwise can't even do that, then basically, what do you call it? Give up the results of your work, help with a charity. If you can't even do that, just develop knowledge, and then slowly you'll come to my level, right?
Yeah,
So
gold,
basically
silver, bronze, and
that's
yes.
right, exactly. And so basically the point was that it's not all or nothing. You can start small and then move up. Move up the ladder. Okay. I hear Premji's voice. Any comments? Any questions?
No.
Okay, all right. Okay. So we're going to start with today's class. There are no other questions. So you may recall, for those of you who have been there since the beginning, you may recall in the first 6 chapters, we discussed the concept of the soul and the various yoga processes by which one can understand the Supreme Lord, right? Can anybody name the various types of yoga processes that we discussed through these chapters? Anybody?
Karma yoga.
Karma yoga, yes, very good. What else?
Jnana
Jnana yoga. Yes.
Jnana yoga.
Dhyan yoga, yes.
It's Karmi, Karm Kanda, Karm Yog, Gyan Yog, Dhyan Yog,
Bhakti Yoga.
Bhakti
Very
Yog.
good.
Buddhi Yoga.
And the last
Buddhi Yoga.
Buddhi
Yeah,
yoga, same as
Buddhi
Bhakti
Yoga.
yoga. Very good. Excellent.
Yeah.
I'm impressed. So everybody gets 99.99%. Okay, then the middle 6 chapters, which is 7 through 12, describe the relative position of the soul and the Lord, Krishna. And what is that relationship and what is that position? What is our position relative to Lord Krishna? Anybody? What's our position relative to Krishna? Iman is thinking so hard.
We have to serve Krishna.
Yes, so we are the servant. That's our position. Yes, correct.
We are all das.
So said the invisible man. Sorry, go ahead.
We are das.
We are das. Yes.
Das,
correct.
das, servant.
Yes, yes, we are servant. Yes. Okay, and what's the relationship? Sorry, I already answered that. I'm sorry.
Servant, like we are the servant.
We are the servant. He's the boss.
Yeah.
Yes.
Correct. Okay. And what's the process by which we strengthen this relationship?
By Bhakti Yoga.
Yes, very good. Excellent. I'm amazed. Very nice.
And by surrender.
Bhakti
Okay.
Yoga.
Yes, so the invisible man spoke again.
I am the invisible man.
I don't see you, I hear you. Oh, there you go. Very good.
I am the invisible man.
So, nazik baith jao, bhai. Okay, so the final 6 chapters, the chapters 13 through 18, focus on Gyan, which is transcendental wisdom. Basically, something that helps us become detached from materialistic aspirations. And simultaneously, we become attached to Krishna. So essentially what happens is, as we become more attached to Krishna, we become more detached from material things.
Yep.
Just automatic process. So in chapter 13, we'll discuss how our soul comes into contact with the material nature. We'll define material nature also. And then how the soul starts to identify itself with the material nature. And finally, we'll talk about how the Lord delivers the soul through the various types of yoga processes. Everything we'll talk about in chapter 13 has already been discussed, but we'll just discuss it in more detail and more analytical way in this chapter. Okay? So the chapter begins with Arjun asking Krishna to define 6 subjects. First is Prakriti, which is nature. Second is Purusha. Who knows the word name of the or meaning of the word Purusha, by the way? Who knows the meaning of the word Purusha? Don't say man, because that's the wrong answer.
No, not Purusha.
Okay.
Purusha means the work.
Huh?
The labor we do, the work we do.
Purusha means probably Jeev actually.
I'm not saying Purusha. 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 P-U-R-U-S-H.
Consciousness?
You probably hear Purusha, this three, you know, this in Hindi.
Body?
Okay.
No. The spirit or the soul? No.
Purusha.
Purusha means Krishna.
Purusha actually means the enjoyer.
Enjoy.
Enjoy.
That's the
Enjoyer.
literal meaning of the word Purusha.
Hmm.
Okay, and there's a reason why I said that. Later on we'll talk about the fact that Krishna is the only Purusha anywhere. We are all, including myself and Premji and Ram Priya Prabhu, we're all females.
We are the enjoyer.
We are all females. Only Krishna is the Purusha, because literally means
Enjoy.
Enjoyer.
enjoyer. We're not enjoyer. What are we? We're not the enjoyer. What are we?
Das. Servant.
No, but in the sense of enjoyment.
We give enjoyment to the Krishna.
Right. Yeah, we are to be enjoyed.
Enjoyer.
Yeah.
Yep.
To
Krishna
be
is the
enjoyed.
enjoyer.
We are the person who are giving the enjoyment.
Correct. You got it.
So, Prabhuji, can we consider ourselves as Prakriti?
Yes, exactly right. We are Prakriti, Krishna is Purusha. Yes, very good, Himani. Okay, then, so that was second topic, right? So Prakriti first, nature, Purusha, the enjoyer second, and Kshetra, or that's the Sanskrit word for the field of activities. So that's the third topic.
Hmm.
Fourth question, thing she wants to know is Kshetragya, which means the knower of the field, the person who has the knowledge about this field.
Prabhuji, can you repeat what was the third field?
Third was
Kshetra?
Kshetra.
Territory.
Prakriti Purusha Kshetra Kshetragya.
Those of you who understand Hindi, you know, the Kurukshetra, the land of Kurus, right? Or the field of Kurus.
Territory.
Territory of field, yeah, you can say that. Then next is Jnanam. So that's the fifth one. Fourth was Kshetragya, which is the knower of the field. Fifth is Jnanam, which is knowledge. Knowledge and the process of knowing also. And finally, Jnayam, which means the object of knowledge.
Knowledge.
Can you please repeat number 5? Is the
Yeah,
Jnana?
sure. I'm sorry?
Is it the knowledge, Jnana?
Number 5 was Jnanam, yes, knowledge and the process of knowing. By the way, all these words are in verse number 1 of chapter 13. And finally is Jnayam, which means the object of knowledge. Like, what is it that worth knowing? Okay. So all these 6 subjects are actually key constituents of Vedic philosophy. And Krishna will spend the whole chapter 13, in defining them and discussing them. So you will know before the end of tonight all these 6 topics very well. So as Arjun has done, like you say, why is Arjun asking all this? You should know already all this. Yes. So just like he's done throughout his dialogue with Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, he's once again playing the part of basically a materially entangled person, a materialistic person, you can say. So he can pose these questions for our benefit. He already knows the answers.
Yep.
But he's asking for our benefit. So all of you today can discuss these topics today. And of course, his inquiries create the opportunity for Krishna to offer answers to life's most profound mysteries. If Arjun didn't ask, Krishna won't have to give the answer, and then we won't know. So Krishna begins by defining Kshetra and Kshetragya. So what was Kshetra? Anybody?
Body, like the field.
Field of activities, correct.
Field of activities.
Right. And Kshetragya is the knower of the field.
No,
Knowledge of.
ourselves.
So then the question becomes, okay, field. What is the field? What field is he talking about?
What is field?
Yeah. I asked first.
Yeah.
So now you tell me. So what is field? It
Field
starts-
Body is the field.
above.
Very good. Yes, body. Very good. So this body, our body is the field.
Is the field.
Field of activity. And who's the actor? Who's
Our
acting?
We.
Me.
Who's we?
This
Somebody
body.
said that. Somebody said that already.
Our soul.
Soul, yes, very good.
So
So
The soul is the knower of the field. Like this soul knows this body.
yep.
My soul knows my body. Your soul knows your body. But I'm sure you already know your soul doesn't know my body, and my soul doesn't know your body. Right? So this is a one-to-one relationship. Correct?
Yep.
So your soul is the knower of your body. My soul is the knower of my body.
my body.
Right? Why? Because it occupies my body. My soul occupies my body. Your soul occupies your body. But then we also talk about super soul. Right? Krishna is the super soul. So what's the difference between super soul and the soul?
Super soul is the knower of all the bodies.
Very good. Very good.
Super. So it is in some, everyone.
Yes. So super soul is the knower of all bodies.
All the bodies.
And we are the knower of only our body.
Our body.
Field. Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Srila Prabhupada explains that the material world is the nature or the field of activities for Krishna. Right? And the soul is the enjoyer of the nature which is limited to our body. But super soul is the enjoyer of all bodies. Right? Is that simple enough?
Yep.
Okay. Now, we often use the term material world. So the material world consists of a combination of spirit and matter. So what is spirit here?
Spirit is the soul.
Soul, exactly.
Yeah.
And matter.
Matter
So what
is
is matter?
Matter is matter.
Bhakti.
No.
No. Material
Body.
things.
Material things like earth, water,
Earth,
air,
yeah.
fire.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Material things.
There are 8 things Krishna talks about. Does anybody know by any chance? We did that in the 7th chapter. What are the 8 elements of material nature or matter?
Earth,
Earth, water, air, fire.
air,
Yeah.
air,
Yeah.
air,
Ether.
Ether, that's 5.
air.
No, ho gaya. That's
Oh,
5.
yeah. Okay.
There's 3 more. 3 more, what do they call subtle elements? So these 5 are called gross elements.
Yeah.
There's 3 subtle elements. Mind, intelligence, and ahankar, which is false ego. So these 8 things constitute the material nature or the matter.
Yep.
And the spirit is the soul. So the material world is a combination of the two.
Can we go over with it once again?
Sure. So somebody tell me the 8 names, 8 elements of the material nature.
Water.
Water is 1.
Fire,
Fire
air,
is 2. Air
earth,
is 3. Earth is 4.
moon, sky, I think. Mind.
Sky or ether.
Sky is
Yeah, it's mind.
Sky or ether. Mind is 7th or 6th, I mean.
Okay.
intelligence.
7th, yeah.
Intelligence.
And false ego.
False
ego.
ego. False ego.
Which is ahankar.
Yeah, Ahankar.
Ahankar. Yeah, okay.
Shilpi, did you get that?
Yeah. Thank you.
Sure. Okay. So combination of all this.
I'm still at 6.
Okay, let's start again. Which 6 did you get?
Earth, water, air, fire, intelligence, false ego.
Okay, so ether is 1. Ether or sky. And mind.
Mind, false ego, intelligence.
Right, so those are 3 subtle ones and the 5 gross ones.
Okay.
Okay? And if you want reference, it's chapter 7, text 5. Okay. So only when the spirit and matter combine, you get all these varieties of earthly life. So you get the trees, you get the animals, you get the human beings, you get the birds, you get the aquatics, all those kind of things. Without the spirit matter combining, you will not have all that, right? And we know matter is temporary, is passive, has no feelings. Spirit is active, is eternal, with lots of feelings, right? So we should understand the difference between spirit and matter. It's very important to understand that. Everybody clear on that?
Can you repeat it again, please?
Sure. So the spirit is eternal, is active, and full of feelings.
Okay.
Right? Matter is temporary, like body dies, right? It's passive, body by itself cannot do anything and has no feelings.
Okay.
Right? And just in case that's not clear, if there's no soul in the body doesn't feel anything, cannot move, right? And very soon decays.
Okay.
All right?
Thank you.
Okay. So you could ask, why are we calling this body the field? So essentially, it's very appropriate analogy. Why? Because what do you do in a field? Like if you're a farmer, what do you do in a field? The khet mein. What do you do in a field?
All the activities are happening there. That's why.
I'm sorry?
All the activities.
We grow crop.
Yeah, exactly. So you plant, you grow grains, you harvest, all those kind of things, right? And you need the help of sun and the rain for these things to work. Right? Similarly, the soul that's wishing to enjoy the fruits of work labors in what field? This body.
Body.
And what is it harvesting? What is, like we could be harvesting a farmer could be harvesting fruits, rice, wheat, corn, all those kind of things. What does the soul harvest? Happiness and sorrow. Right? That's what we are harvesting.
Faith.
Huh?
Faith.
Faith. What do you mean faith?
No.
How do you harvest faith?
We will develop faith.
Develop it, yeah, that's different.
Yeah, we will develop faith.
But not from the body, though, right?
Okay.
Okay. All right. Okay.
How about peace?
I'm sorry.
Do we harvest peace as well?
Yeah, maybe. You stretch it a little bit, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So then this chapter, verses 6 and 7, describe what we had. I'm sorry.
Desire.
No, verse 6 and 7 describe what we discussed in chapter 2, something called Sankhya philosophy, which tells us the difference between the spirit and the matter, or the soul from the body. Okay. And I mean, I could get into some detail, but really confuse you about the 24 elements and the body and all that. So maybe I'll skip that.
I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
Did we talk about something like that in chapter 2?
About Sankhya philosophy, yes.
You did, right?
Where we analyzed soul, its characteristics.
Divine property, and then.
Correct. And the body property, all this. That's correct.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Then verses 8 through 12 are very interesting, but they describe how the soul can disentangle itself from the body. So remember, we are entangled in this body. And actually, we don't even want to leave this body. But the purpose of studying Bhagavad Gita and performing devotional service is so one day we become free from everything material. So the verses 8 to 12 talk about how we can do that by cultivating knowledge. And Krishna talks about 20 qualities. And interestingly, he uses the word knowledge, which says you need to understand why these qualities are required and how to use those qualities. So he, instead of using the word quality, he uses the word knowledge. It's very interesting. And he says that the real method of acquiring knowledge is the cultivation of these 20 qualities. And some of the qualities he talks about, some of the 20 qualities I'll mention is like being without pride, having a sense of humility, sense control, detachment, but above all, unalloyed devotional service to Krishna. So before I go further, who knows the meaning of the word unalloyed? Or who knows the meaning of the word alloy? What's an alloy?
Limit?
No.
Sure.
Unalloyed means without impurity.
Very good. Who said that? I couldn't see. Oh, Gautam. Hare Krishna, Gautam, how are you?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Okay, wonderful. Yes, so you're right. So unalloyed means something without any impurity. Alloyed means, like alloyed is something that in chemical engineering, metallurgical engineering, people do deliberately. So for example, to make steel, the iron, if you just take the iron, it's not strong enough. So they have to mix it with things to make it strong and they call it steel. So there's the term alloyed steel. Something has been mixed. So unalloyed means pure. So what is alloyed devotional service? Just so we are clear on this. I'm not saying unalloyed. What is alloyed devotional service?
Mixture.
I know, but mixture of what? What kind of things is it mixed with devotional service?
Asking for something from God.
Hari bol, very good, very good. So that's the material motivation. So you are, it's called karma mishra. You're mixing your fruitive activities. You want something material from Krishna. There's another kind of, which says Gyan Mishra, which means that you're speculating. So those are alloyed. Unalloyed means no material desires, not asking for anything. All I want is to make Krishna happy. Okay? That's called unalloyed devotional service. So Krishna is saying we need to know about unalloyed devotional service. That's the biggest, the topmost knowledge. And he says that if you don't have the knowledge or understanding of what is unalloyed devotional service, then you can have all the other 19 qualities. Who cares? They don't mean anything. You can be humble. You can be detached. You can be without any sense of pride. Who cares if you don't have devotional service? Because you still be entangled in the material world. Make sense?
Yep.
Okay.
Prabhuji, one question.
Sure, go ahead.
To get into that unalloyed to Krishna, without any impurities, we need to gain the other things also, right? Then only we will be able to achieve, right?
Very good question. So my next sentence was going to be, literally next sentence was going to be that while other qualities are not important at all if you don't have the unalloyed devotional service. However, if you do have the unalloyed devotional service, then all other qualities automatically develop. You don't have to make separate effort. But yes, you will have them and you need them. Did I answer your question?
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. There's one other quality that's very critical. And it goes along with the same concept of unalloyed devotional service. And that is to accept a spiritual master, a guru. who is in the disciplic succession. So even for somebody who's taken to devotional service already, the transcendental life begins only after one accepts a spiritual master. Let me say differently. You cannot get to Krishna without a genuine spiritual master. He is the one who makes the connection between you and Krishna. It's like taking the plug of a lamp and putting it in the socket. Until you put it in the socket, there will be no light. So basically, your guru is taking you the plug and putting in the socket that's connected to Krishna. Okay? So unalloyed devotional service along with the spiritual master is critical to have to get to Krishna. Any questions or any objections?
Yeah, I have, sorry, I'm asking two more.
Please go ahead, yeah.
Will the requirement, I mean, not the requirement, will guru is required in every birth, or is it something, okay, in the previous birth we will be having guru, we have gained knowledge, and in this birth we will anyway continue based on the knowledge. So are there anything like we don't require guru based on?
I could ask you a question which said that if in your previous life you were a billionaire, could you use some of that this life?
No.
Huh? So no, you need the guru in every life for a couple of reasons. One is the fact that he got this life means he did not achieve perfection yet. Otherwise, you would not have this life, right? And if you did not achieve perfection, that means you need more direction. Who are you going to get the directions from? So you need the guru.
Okay.
Okay. Is it making sense?
Yeah, I was thinking about Prahalad in his maybe last birth when he saw Narsimha Avatar. He was already having the knowledge of.
No. It was in the same birth that he got the knowledge of Narad Muni. And then he saw Lord Nrsimhadev in the same birth. They were both in the same birth.
Okay.
He got the knowledge when he was in the womb of his mother. And then he saw Lord Nrsimhadev when he was 5 years old. But after that, he did not take birth. That was it. Done, finito, setu.
Got it. Okay.
Okay. Hasta, how's my Spanish?
Perfect.
Thank you.
Muy bien.
Gracias. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. So basically, by matching these qualities and the knowledge, Krishna basically what he's saying is that the knowledge is not about information or memorizing things, but actually about developing an exemplary personal character and practical behavior. This is the point that Rampriya was making before, that along with alloyed devotional service, you need these qualities. Krishna is saying exactly the same thing. Okay?
Can you repeat that again, please?
Yes, of course. So basically, Krishna is saying that when we use the term knowledge, we think about, oh, you got lots of information, you memorize stuff, so you know it all. But he's saying it's not about that. What it's about is developing an exemplary personal character and behaving in the practical sense in a way that's exemplary also. So that's why all these 20 qualities are being described in these verses, saying a devotee will have these qualities. And he says, but on top of those, all of them is the unalloyed service, devotional service, and taking instructions or accepting a spiritual master. Okay, so knowledge is not about memorizing the verses. Knowledge is about behavior, he's saying. Your character, your behavior, those kind of things. Is it making sense?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So Krishna has now described the kshetra, which is the field. He described kshetragya, which is the soul, the knower of the field. And he's described jnanam, which is the knowledge. We just talked about it, right? Those three things have been covered, 3 out of 6. Right?
Yep.
Okay. Now, in the next, I'm sorry, go ahead. Oh, I thought somebody had a question. Okay. Now in the verses 13 to 19, the next 7 verses, he describes the objects of knowledge. So what are the 2 objects of knowledge? Anybody remembers? We talked about 2 objects of knowledge, things that we need to know or know about, I should say. So it's the soul and
matter.
no, super soul.
Super soul.
Super soul.
Matter was
Yes.
the field, remember?
Yeah. Yep.
We need to know about the soul
And super soul.
and the super soul. Okay. So we already discussed one point, which was what is the nature or the position of the soul? And you had already answered that. Can you answer it again? What is the position of the soul?
Position of soul to super soul.
No, just position. What is the position? Okay, you can do super soul, whatever.
No, knower of the body.
That's correct. But you just go back, way back, just generally speaking, if you're not in the context of chapter 13, what is the position of a soul compared to Krishna?
It is to serve Krishna.
Servant, you got it.
Servant.
So our position, the soul's position is servant. It doesn't change. And its characteristic is eternal, is conscious, and is full of bliss. Sat, Chit, and Anand.
Chit Anand.
Right?
Yeah.
So we are servant who's eternal in identity, like we never destroyed. We are never destroyed. The Chit, we're always conscious. The soul is always conscious. And the soul is always joyful. Bliss. So it's a very happy servant, but always the servant. Right? And the relationship it has with the super soul of Krishna is the servant-master relationship. Right? Okay. Now comes a very interesting description of what is or who is Supreme Personality of Godhead. Anybody heard the name of the book Ishopanishad?
Ishopanishad. We have heard the name, but not
the name. That's okay. It's okay. It's a very, very famous and very important book. Srila Prabhupada recommended 4 books everybody should read. That's Bhagavad Gita, Sri Ishopanishad, Nectar of Instruction, and Nectar of
Devotion.
Devotion. Very good. So he said everybody should read those 4 books, and that's part of a program called Bhakti Shastri that ISKCON offers. And of course, then you have Srimad Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita. So a total of 6 books, but he said everybody should read 4, and then if you can, read the other 2 also. Okay. So here from Ishopanishad, I shouldn't say that, but it's also repeated in Ishopanishad. Krishna is saying, here is what Supreme Personality of Godhead looks like. He is all pervading with his legs and hands and eyes and ears and heads and faces everywhere. Pervading everything. It sounds like the universal form. Right? So how do you understand that? So Srila Prabhupada says, think of the sun. You can be in Vancouver, you can be in Los Angeles, you can be in Toronto, you can be in Burlington, or you can be in India. You see sunlight. You say, is it the same sunlight? Well, it's the same sun. It's not a different sun in India or in Vancouver or Toronto or Burlington, right? So the sun is pervading the entire planet, entire universe actually. With infinite number of rays. And all living entities exist in him, right? Going further, Supreme Personality of God, it is the original source of material senses. Like our material senses come from him. But he is without material senses. Are you with me? Somebody say yes, please.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Oh, good. Okay. So actually, we, the soul, also have spiritual senses. But they are covered by material senses because we are conditioned. We are living, we've been contaminated by the material energy.
Yep.
Right? But the Lord has no such covering, and therefore no contamination of his senses. What that means is that from his uncontaminated hand, he can accept offerings. When you offer bhoga, he accepts it. With his transcendental eyes, he can see everything, including the past, present, and the future. Living in our heart, like where is he living as super soul? In our heart. Right? So living in our heart as super soul, he knows what we have done in the past, what we're doing right now, and what's waiting for us in the future. So he knows our present, he knows our past, he knows our future. He knows it all. So therefore, it's wrong to say the Lord is impersonal, because he has all these senses, like the hands, the legs, the eyes, and the ears, and all those kind of things. But even more interesting is that all his senses are interchangeable. What does that mean? It means he can eat with his eyes.
Mm-hmm.
He can see with his hands. We can't do that. Okay?
Which word?
And then again, sorry, somebody said something?
Which word you are using for that? Which word you used?
He said you cannot see with your hand, but God can see.
That I understand, but the word he is using.
Interchangeable.
Interchangeable. Okay,
yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Another characteristic, he is the maintainer of all living beings, but he himself is unattached. He doesn't get attached to anybody or anything. He maintains us, but doesn't get attached to us. He's the master of all modes of material nature, but he's above them all, in that none of them affect him. So what are the three modes of material nature? Who knows?
Mode of goodness, mode of passion, and mode of
ignorance.
Very good. Ignorance. Yes. Yep. So none of these affect him. Although he controls, he's master of all of these. And the best one that I like is he's far away, very far away, yet so near to us.
Inside us.
Right? He's sitting maybe in Golok Vrindavan. Right? But we offer bhoga here,
they go there.
And he accepts it. So it's very far, but also very near. So all these contradictions are existing in the Lord. And then even more. Sometimes people ask a question, and I'll ask you that question. When the soul goes from one body to another body, we said that the super soul resides in the heart of living entity. By the way, I use the word soul and the living entity interchangeably. They both mean the same thing. So you may hear from me soul 1 second, next second you may hear living entity, but I mean both the same thing. Okay, I hope that's not confusing. So when the soul goes from one body to another body, the question becomes, so does super soul move with it? Is it like attached to the soul? Wherever the soul goes, super soul goes with it?
No.
Then what happens?
Not the same one.
So it's a different one?
Where the soul will go, the super soul will be there in that body. but not the same one. I can.
The same super soul.
Same super soul will not go. For a lay person like us, we can think like the new body will have a super soul.
So even there's a new super soul there.
Yeah.
No,
Super soul is the same.
Okay.
go
He is
with
everywhere.
that's how witnesses.
I'm sorry.
He
Sorry,
will
Mamta?
go with he will go with you. That's how he witnesses, right? Everything.
So Mamta is saying he actually goes with you. Madhu Mataji is saying no, he doesn't go. So let's have a fight.
Any place anyway. You don't have to go any actually.
That's a better point.
Yeah.
So it's like the sunshine, right? The rays of the sun.
Yes.
They're everywhere. You can
Yeah, he's
move from Vancouver to Toronto, you still have the ray. You don't talk about a different ray or different. It's all there. It's like it's a continuous, right? So there's only one super soul really, but they look like they're divided, but they're not divided.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the point Krishna is making.
That's true.
Okay. All right. Let's go to verse 20, where Krishna now describes the material nature. What is material nature? We talk about it so often. Well, it's the inferior external energy of the Lord. As we were mentioning verse 5 of chapter 7 before, there the Lord describes it as my inferior external energy. Whereas the soul is superior to external energy and is a spiritual energy. So even though both soul and material nature are eternal, but as Krishna said, soul is superior energy compared to the material nature, which is inferior. Now what happens? All the souls that are averse to serving the Lord, in other words, they're saying, why should I serve you? Why should you be the master? I want to be the master. I'm the master. Let somebody serve me. So those souls are sent to the material world. That's how we ended up here. Just in case anybody has any doubts. How did you get here? You were once in the spiritual world. When I say you, I mean all of us. And you said, I don't want to serve you. I want to be served. I don't want to give you the enjoyment. I want to be the enjoyer. Enough about this Prakriti nonsense. I want to be the Purusha. And Krishna said, okay, well, the only way that can happen is that you go to a place where you are sleeping, but you think you're awake, you're doing all these things. That place is called material world. And you're all in a sleeping state, in a dream state. We're dreaming, we're doing this and that and that. That's a very important concept. So I'm going to stop, which means pause, and see if anybody has a question in that regard. But it's very important to understand how we ended up here. It was our desire to enjoy. It was our refusal to serve and demand to be served. That's the rebellion we started, and we ended up here as a punishment. Clear?
One question, Prabhuji.
Yes, go ahead.
I was thinking like if we go into the spiritual world, we will never come back.
Correct, that's correct.
But actually now you're saying like we have come here to the material world from the spiritual world.
So think of it as you are at the door of the spiritual world, not inside.
Can you say it again, Prabhuji?
At the door.
Imagine that you were at the door.
Oh my God, we couldn't enter inside.
You didn't enter, you didn't want to. You were invited. You said, no,
Yes.
no, I want to enjoy. The sign said, enter and serve. And I said, I don't want to serve. Well, then don't enter. I said, okay, don't enter.
You will be stuck there.
Come here. That's the choice we made.
Yes.
So basically, we were not entirely inside, just at the door.
At the door, yes.
Because if somebody is inside, he will never come back.
Correct.
Okay.
At once you cannot enter the inside. You cannot
Well,
enter
you
at
can.
once.
All you have to say is, yes, I want
At
to serve.
once.
As
But
soon as
that
you
will
say,
take time. I
okay,
want to serve, but that will take time to go there.
no, the moment you're ready to serve purely, you're there.
Pure. Yeah.
The time it takes is to become pure because we don't want to be pure.
Yep.
We're so busy enjoying. We're so attached to the body, to the family, to our car, to our house,
Yep.
our country, all those kind of things. Okay?
Yep.
Thank you.
All right. By the way, I just want to know all these people whom I don't see, does it mean they're sleeping? Is everybody sleeping? Or like, I don't see the faces. I say, well, let me see you, please.
Not sleeping.
Thank you. Oh, Hari Bol.
We are listening.
So much nicer. You know, it's like, oh my God. Thank you. It was lovely seeing you.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Oh, Prabhuji, have you been careful?
He is sitting beside me.
Okay. So, Alex, so it's clear so far?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
So I have a question, Prabhuji. Sorry, I have a question, Prabhuji.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
So the souls which came into this material world is like, it is all because of the decision that was made by the individual soul, not because of anything else.
Correct.
Yeah. Yep.
It's purely our choice.
Yes.
And by the way, it still is. It's called free will. We still have that. So can't blame anybody but ourselves.
So like, okay, now that we are standing in between or standing in front of the door of the spiritual world.
No, you're not.
Like,
not now anymore.
Okay.
Not
no,
anymore.
no. Okay. Just before coming to this material world.
Okay. Okay.
So is it like we did not have enough knowledge to go into the spiritual world and we came here?
No, we had all the knowledge. And we said, we just don't want to serve. We want to be the Lord.
Boss. That is
we want to be the boss. We don't want to give you enjoyment. We want to get enjoyment.
No, that is what is the ignorance, right?
Well, no, it's not ignorance. It's like very deliberate decision. Like there were people going inside saying, yes, I want to serve. And you were saying, no, I don't want to serve. I want to go that way. It's a very deliberate decision on our part. Very stupid decision, but very deliberate decision.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, can't blame anybody else. It's all us. It's all on us.
So do you think it's our ahankara?
Of course it is. Ahankara basically means I am this body, which means I want to enjoy. Absolutely right. Okay? आपको अच्छा नहीं लगा ये वाला? Sangeeta Mataji,
That's true. That's very true.
What, you didn't like it?
No, that's true. It doesn't matter. I like it or not. It's true.
Okay. All right. Okay, let's move on then. So we are forced to come here because we did not want to serve the Lord. And now we have the opportunity to prepare ourselves to return to the spiritual world if, as we were saying before, if we agree or choose to serve the Lord in a pure manner, that unalloyed devotional service. In an instant, it will take us back, but we have to get to the point of unalloyed devotional service. And the choice to become a pure devotee is never taken away from us. Okay? It's always our choice we have. It's just that we keep choosing not to do it. We get distracted or we get attracted to other things. Okay. Now, Something you probably already know, but let me say it anyway, because Krishna said so in the book. The soul is given how many different types of bodies are there? Anybody knows?
84 lakhs.
8.4 million. That's correct.
Yeah.
So 8.4 million different kinds of bodies.
Yeah.
And we get those bodies, or one of those bodies at a time, according to our desire and our activities.
Past karmas.
This is past karmas, right? And we experience the material happiness or distress of different kind in different body. But I'm going to repeat myself. The soul itself, that's the us, we are the cause of attaining whatever body we got. And with the body comes this attendant enjoyment of suffering, and we chose to have that. You can't blame anybody. Okay, and once we are put in a particular kind of body, we come under the control of nature, because the body, being the matter, acts according to the laws of nature. Everybody clear on that?
Yep.
A body has to act according to the laws of nature. And once having gotten the body or a body, we have no power to change the law. So whatever the law of nature is, we got to follow. So what does all that mean? So let's take an example. Suppose a particular soul has been put in the body of a dog. As soon as the soul is put into the body of the dog, it must act like a dog. It cannot act like a horse or an elephant. And if another soul has been put in the body of a hog, right, swine, then he's forced to act like a hog. And what does a hog like to eat? Stool, right, urine and all this dirty stuff.
Yeah.
And acts like a hog. How else does a hog act? It cleans up all the dirty things, right? Similarly, if a soul is put in the body of a demigod, then it acts like a demigod, right? Enjoys. That's the law of nature. Can't change that. But in all circumstances, whatever the body we get, the super soul is there with the individual soul. So super soul doesn't leave you saying, oh, this body of hog really stinks, I can't stay here. No, it still stays there. Okay, so soul and the super soul are always together. Okay, so why does the soul move from one body to another body? By the way, the technical term for that is transmigration. You may have heard that already. Transmigration of soul. That's soul going from one body to another body. And so this transmigration happens because of the soul's attachment to the material existence and its association with the modes of material nature, which are mode of goodness, mode of passion, and mode of ignorance. So if you want to go back to the spiritual world, you have to rise above all this, rise above the modes of material nature, rise above our attachment to material existence, and associated with all material things. Rise above that. And the only way we can do that is if we become situated in Krishna consciousness. It can happen only if we are situated in Krishna consciousness. Because as long as we stay in the material consciousness, we will be obliged to transfer from one body to another body to another body to another body eternally. That will never cease. So the only way out is Krishna consciousness. I'm going to pause again and see if there are any questions or objections. Like Krishna consciousness is not a option to not take, unless you're prepared to stay eternally in the material world. Go ahead, Asta.
So there's always like these evolutionists and like Darwinism, and like they're always like like Big Bang, you know, that type of stuff. But like, if the soul has always been here, right? Like, where did we like start from? Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yes,
if
yes.
if the Big Bangers are like, there was an explosion in Krishna consciousness, like, what's the origin of like everything? Or did it come because we were with Krishna, but we got jealous, and then we came down, and that's the origin of our soul? Or where did that soul start from?
Okay. So when we get to chapter 15, we'll read that we are all part and parcel of Krishna. So that we, the soul, came from Krishna. We are all part and parcel of him. Krishna, there was never a time when Krishna did not exist. And therefore, there never was a time when we did not exist. When I say we, we're talking about the soul. Right? Since the beginning of time, whatever that means. And that's not a few trillion years ago, but that's just who knows what. Okay? So that's the first thing. I think your subsequent question is or should be, what about the bodies? Because evolution refers to the body, not the soul. Okay, even Darwin is talking about the body, not about the soul, we're talking about evolution. By the way, Darwin did finally admit he was wrong, but that's a different topic. So we believe in the Big Bang theory without Sheldon. So there was this Big Bang, and all these universes sprouted from the pores of Mahavishnu. And all the souls came out of his abdomen. And then they occupied the bodies according to their previous karmas. Now, you could say, well, what about the very first time when there were no karma? Right? Even though we don't talk about that because this, like Prabhupada says, so long ago, who knows? But Prabhupada says that we all started as Brahma. So no karma, just the body. But then as we performed activities to get enjoyment, we started accumulating karmas.
Gotcha.
And then we started getting different bodies.
Okay.
Okay? Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay. So Prabhuji, I have got a question. You said like we should be in Krishna consciousness always. So then we are assured to be a human being again.
Well, but that's a very small thing. Being a human again is a very small thing. I'm talking about
why I'm saying that? Because it's very difficult to achieve in one life the salvation. Like, so I'm saying if we do our best, reach some level, say 5%, because I put my, like even if we obtain 5 or 10, at least we have an opportunity to come back and make it 10 to 50 or like that, whatever. Like Prabhupada also said in one, I don't remember the exact one, that there are category of people, and he said like, I was fortunate and then I got a guru like that, and that's how I am today, basically. So my question was like, basically, we will do our best. We are in cause, and we do our best to remain in Krishna consciousness. At least next time we may get an opportunity, because only as a human being you can be in Krishna consciousness. I think only we are the privileged one who can have Krishna consciousness. An animal cannot go in Krishna consciousness. Is it true or not?
So basically, you're correct. But what I was going to add was that if you chant, you're guaranteed a human birth. So you're safe.
Chanting.
If you chant, you're guaranteed a human birth.
Okay.
What if you chant to an animal?
Yeah, so you're guaranteeing that animal next human birth. So by all means, if you see an animal, start chanting. I'm serious. And like in my backyard, you think I'm crazy if you watch me sometimes. When the squirrels and the birds show up, I start chanting loudly.
I love that.
Yeah. So we should all do that.
In your backyard, everybody will be chanting because you are there.
There you go.
Because they are hearing from you all the time.
With my whip. Yes. Okay.
Like in Vrindavan, they say, in Vrindavan, the birds and the animal, they chant.
Yeah, actually, and they say
Yeah.
that they're all devotees.
Long ago, they used to chant.
Yeah, in the previous
So
birth,
that
they were
was-
devotees.
Mm.
Yeah, that's very true. Okay,
I have one question.
go ahead. Go ahead.
So, when the transmigration happens between the bodies, I mean, who is the decision maker for that?
Who is that?
So, no, that's a very good question. So, remember when we're discussing 8th chapter, we said whatever you're thinking about at the moment of your death is the body you will get. Remember that?
Yeah.
So that's what's determining it. And that's why we're practicing chanting, we're practicing Krishna consciousness. So the last second of our life, we'll remember Krishna.
Yeah.
And then we don't have to come back. If you start thinking about a dog or a hog, then that's the body you will get.
Yeah. So
if you want,
sorry.
I was just going to say, if you want to go back to your book, Bhagavad Gita, chapter 8,
Chapter
verses
8.
5 and 6.
The story of a deer.
No, that's different.
Like there was a saint who was like chanting, was thinking about the deer at the last time. At the last time, he was just remembering of the deer or swan in that. So he got the birth in there.
Right.
Something was like that.
Right. So if you go to verses
Sorry,
5 and
what
6, you'll see the explanation.
Yeah. Okay.
Prabhuji?
Yeah.
Yes.
What was the chapter? Chapter 8?
Chapter 8.
Yeah.
Verse 5 and verse 6.
5 and 6.
So that means we have to be alert every time saying Krishna,
Well,
Krishna.
that means you have to be alert all the time.
All the
Yeah,
time.
all the time.
All the time for the rest of your life.
Yeah,
Keep chanting Krishna's name. Keep serving in the temple or otherwise in your temple, in your house temple, whatever. But yeah, that's exactly right.
So that state of mind will give the body of, as a human, if my state of mind the next janma will be human. But
No. If you're thinking about Krishna, at the moment of death, you'll go to Krishna Lok. You don't come back here. No human body, nothing, no body, no material body.
Yeah. So my question was, who will decide to go to that particular body?
That's what I'm saying. Your consciousness, whatever that is the body you get. No, there's no other decision maker involved here. It's just you and your consciousness. So if you're thinking about a dog, it's determined you get the dog's body.
Prabhuji, is this true in the human body when we take a birth? So do we have a birth first in Vaishya, Juni, or
कौन बोल रहा है?
Sonia?
Oh, Sonia Mataji. Hare Krishna Mataji. हाँ.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So,
हाँ देखा बोलिए.
so do we get the birth in Vaishya first or
In where?
Vaishya Jati, like,
Why?
I don't know, I heard somewhere.
No.
No.
Brahman caste पैदा होंगे.
Okay.
There are 3 others, right? Brahman, Kshatriya, and Shudra.
Yeah.
उनकी तो population खत्म हो जाएगी. Right?
But Prabhuji,
हाँ जी.
all the karma what we have done before going into Krishna consciousness, that doesn't count for the next janma?
Sure it does. Remember, we also said that whatever devotional service you do is never lost. So you start from the point you left off. But this discussion is slightly different from that.
Okay.
Right? He's talking about the next body, how you get the next body. You're talking about what happens to your credits.
No, I'm talking about the next body only. Like now, I am not much into Krishna consciousness. But slowly I just develop, and at the time of death, maybe I am into Krishna consciousness and thinking of Krishna every time in my old age, and I pass away. Then what happens?
So again, depends upon what you're thinking about at the moment of death. But my point was to your earlier question that whatever credits you have accumulated, it doesn't matter what body you get, the credit stay with you.
Yeah.
Right? Credits never go away. It's never lost on you. So even if you did not get a human body, the credit stays. And when you do get a human body, you start again.
It comes.
Okay?
Okay.
All right, let's get moving because otherwise we get really late. Okay. Okay. So the super soul, as I was saying, always stays with the individual soul, and the super soul is an expansion of the Lord. It's not the same as individual soul. We talked about that earlier, right? So what's the need or the function of the super soul? Its main function is to witness the activities of the individual soul and to permit the activities of the individual soul. So in Sanskrit it says Updrashta Anumantacha. That's verse number 23 in this chapter. It says it acts as the witness to our activities and the sanctioner or permitter of our activities. So without the permission of the super soul, the individual soul cannot do anything. In the same verse, it says the individual soul is bhukti, which means the sustained, and super soul is the bhokta or the maintainer. And the super soul stays with the individual soul as an intimate friend, acting like the witness and the sanctioner. And there's an Upanishad. Everybody knows the word Upanishad? They're part of the Vedas. So there's an Upanishad by the name of Mundak Upanishad. It describes that soul and the super soul are like two birds sitting on a tree. One bird is eating the fruits on the tree, while the other bird is observing as a witness. The bird that tastes the fruits, and some could be bitter, some could be sweet, is always filled with anxiety and sorrow. If that bird turns to his friend, which is the Lord, the super soul, and knows the glories of the Lord, his grief comes to an end. Otherwise, the anxiety, the grief, etc., they continue. So similarly, if the soul turns to the super soul or Krishna, then our anxieties, our sorrow, our griefs end because then we become eligible to go to the spiritual world. But unfortunately, the living entity, the soul, has the tendency to reject the permission of the Supreme Lord, Super Soul, I mean. And it acts independently in its attempt to dominate nature. He comes back. I want to be the Lord. I want to be the boss. He wants to dominate the nature. We, the soul, are called the marginal energy. So remember, we said external energy is Maya, internal energy is Yoga Maya, and we are the marginal energy. So we are called the marginal energy of the Supreme Lord because we can be situated either in the material energy or in the spiritual energy. Are you clear on that point? You can be in Maya or you can be with Krishna. You can say, I want to serve Maya, or you can say, you want to serve Krishna. You are always oscillating. So hence the margin, like standing on a fence. You can jump this way, you can jump that way. Tatastha. मैं इधर जाऊं कि मैं उधर जाऊं. Right? So that's what we call the marginal potency. You're standing on the fence. We have a choice of jumping one way or the other. But as long as we are conditioned by material energy, in other words, we're in a material body, the super soul stays with us just to get us to return to the spiritual energy, the eternal potency. Why? Because the Lord is always eager to take us back to his Yoga Maya, the eternal potency, the spiritual energy. But unfortunately, we have this minute independence, the free will, and using that or misusing that, we're continuously rejecting the advice of the Lord or the super soul.
So Prabhuji, are we violating the permission of the God? It means like we
are violating the instructions or the advice of the super soul. That's why you're in trouble. So this misuse of independence, like that you just said, is the cause of our material strife, and that's why we're in the conditioned nature. That's why we're stuck in the material world. We keep rejecting the advice.
Mm.
The Lord is always giving us instructions from within and from without. From within as super soul, from without as guru or shastras. But we keep ignoring them. The Lord tries very hard, the super soul tries very hard to convince us, the living entity, that your activities in the material world are not conducive to real happiness. And he says, just give it up. Just give it up. Turn your faith toward me, toward Lord, and then you'll be happy. So those of us who are intelligent, we place our faith in the super soul and agree and accept. And we begin to advance toward the spiritual world. But most of us are not so intelligent, so we keep rejecting and we keep suffering in this material world. That's why we are known as eternally conditioned. We've been here eternally because we're so stupid. We keep saying no to the Lord. We keep rejecting the advice of the super soul. He says, do this, it's good for you. He says, what do you know? I know better.
Hare Krishna, I have a question.
Yes, Yashoda.
What about people that follow other religions? Like they might be very pious as well, but what happens to them?
So, Krishna appears in different forms. He can appear as Allah, he can appear as Torah, he can appear as God. It doesn't matter. It's one and the same. And the super soul is same. Whatever religion you are, so the super soul is not only just with the Hindus or the Vaishnavas. It's with everyone, like even the animals. A lion, a tiger, a crocodile, a skunk. They all have the same soul, same quality soul as humans. And the super soul is with every one of them.
I guess it more depends on like the time of death then?
No. The fact that super soul always stays with the soul doesn't change. Dead, alive, transmigrating, doesn't matter. It doesn't leave the soul. And it doesn't matter, it's a human soul or non-human soul. The super soul is there, giving advice, being witness. And it doesn't matter what religion it is. That doesn't change. The name you use for the Lord is different, but the Lord is the same. There's only one Lord. Call him Allah. Call him God. Call him Ram. Call him Krishna. Call him Nising Bhagavan. Doesn't matter. There's only one Lord. It's a monotheist philosophy.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, sure. Okay.
Prabhuji, on the same context, on the same like related question. So like let's say if it is like if a person is following Christianity or something else, like some other religion, like how does Guru or the scriptures play this role for Krishna's consciousness? Is it?
Sorry, say again. Krishna's consciousness, or you mean Krishna consciousness?
Yeah, Krishna consciousness. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Like I mean, so those scriptures are invalid.
No. So scriptures are never invalid.
Never.
So here's all genuine bona fide religions teach you only one thing. There's only one message in all religions. Just love God. And they teach you how to love God. That's all. Every religion, doesn't matter what religion you're talking about. It's genuine bona fide religion. That's all it teaches. It's Muslim, Islam, I should say, Christian, Judaism, it doesn't matter. They're all teaching just one thing. The name of the Lord is different. Maybe specific rituals are different. But the message is the same. Love God. Okay, otherwise it's not a genuine religion.
Okay.
Any religion that purports to not train you how to love God is not religion.
Okay. So there also the like I mean Guru Parampara can be followed. I mean are genuine.
Oh, totally.
Okay.
That's why like Islam, they still follow Muhammad, the prophets. That's the parampara.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Okay. Then Krishna gives another nice example. He says, just like the sun, just one sun illuminates the entire universe. So just one soul illuminates the entire body by consciousness. And as you know, the consciousness is the proof of the presence of the soul in the body. As soon as the soul has passed from the body, there's no more consciousness. And that's another proof that consciousness is not a product of the combination of matter. Rather, consciousness is the symptom of the soul. And that's another very important point. I want to make sure everybody understands the questions you can ask. Consciousness is the symptom of the soul. Everybody with me on that one?
Symptom
Yeah,
or proof
that's
of the
okay.
soul. Proof of the soul.
That's true.
But symptom is the proof, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then, like, how about animals?
Same thing.
Same
If the
thing.
soul is not there, animal body is not conscious.
Yep.
Cannot walk,
Jeevani.
cannot see, cannot eat.
Okay, so that
Jeevani.
Right?
Okay.
Soul is a soul. There's no difference in the quality of a soul in an animal, a bird, an aquatic, and a human, or a demigod.
It is a life like.
Well, it's the consciousness, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, another point is that just like the sun is untouched by the world, the soul is untouched by the body and its actions. The soul does not control the body. It's a very important point, so I want to make sure everybody's listening carefully. The soul does not control the body. The soul merely desires to act, and the rest is done by the nature. We read in chapter 3, text 27, you can make a note of that, you can look at it later on. It says, Prakriti kriyamanani guna karmani sarva. Everything is done by the material nature. It's our false pride that makes us think that we are the doer. We're not. It's the nature that's doing it.
So, Prabhuji, you are saying soul is not responsible what we do?
Soul is not, the pure soul is not responsible for what we do. When the soul identifies itself with the body, then it becomes responsible.
So can I say like the contaminated soul that most of us have got is responsible?
No. So soul can never be contaminated.
Body is contaminated.
The consciousness can be contaminated.
Yeah.
But soul is pure transcendental. It can never be contaminated.
I know, but there are so many layers over it because of our
consciousness. The consciousness. The consciousness of the soul can be contaminated. And that's why we have Krishna consciousness, your material consciousness, which is contaminated consciousness. But the soul is always pure. Soul cannot be. It's transcendental. How can transcendental become pure?
Yeah. Soul is transcendental.
No, I was talking like soul combined with so many layers of all that.
Consciousness. Soul
so
cannot
you are saying, so basically then all that consciousness is responsible when we do the bad things in it.
No.
No.
The nature is, but when a conscious contaminated, we go along with it.
Yeah.
And that's why we suffer, because we think that it's body.
So I have a
question. Go ahead, yeah.
So we say that, conditioned soul.
Mm-hmm.
You just said that soul is pure.
Mm-hmm.
So why we say this is conditioned soul?
Very good question.
Yeah.
It means that consciousness is conditioned. What does condition mean?
Which is
temper.
No.
That we are affected by the other things.
That's one thing, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So because
that is conditioned.
You have liberated soul and you have conditioned souls. Conditioned soul is that it's bound by so many laws of nature.
Yeah.
Material nature. And it's conditioned to respond in a certain way. So for example, if I, without any context, if I went to somebody and said, "Who are you?" They'll either tell their name or their gender or their designation or whatever. Nobody says, oh, I'm spirit soul. We're conditioned to think that way, that we are this body. Just one example. So that's the reason we are called conditioned as opposed to liberated. Okay. Shilpi, am I answering your question?
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay, but then where, like, consciousness is different from soul, right?
Consciousness is integral to the soul and it's a symptom of the soul. Like, you cannot separate soul from the symptom. So wherever there's soul, there's symptom. And that's consciousness.
Okay.
So they're not two separate things.
But they are together.
That's what I'm saying. It's not consciousness is not a entity. It's a symptom. It's subtle. The consciousness basically means awareness, right? So it's not something you can touch or feel or move around or, right?
Okay, so in that case, all souls, including super souls, are same.
Qualitatively, all souls and super soul are same. Qualitatively.
Yeah, like if we leave the consciousness part separate, then soul and super soul are same.
No. Remember, earlier we were saying super soul has the consciousness of all souls.
Yes.
Whereas individual soul is limited to its body.
Yep.
So soul is small, super soul is huge. So quantitatively they're different. Remember earlier we talked about, another week, we talked about the example of an ocean and a spoon. Take the water in the ocean, take the water in the spoon. Qualitatively, they're all the same. There's no comparison quantitatively. So same thing with soul and super soul.
Okay.
Quality-wise, they're all the same. But one is very small, one is huge.
Yeah, with that same example, okay, where is that consciousness? Like, I mean, with the same example of ocean and spoon of water, can we say where is this consciousness in that example? Like, it is totally.
But no, but that's two different examples. So there's no mention of consciousness in that example.
Taste is same.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Okay. All right. So I was just going to say, already answer the question, which is the consciousness of the soul is not supreme because the consciousness of one particular body does not share that of another body. But the super soul, because situated in all bodies, is conscious of all bodies. Okay? So that's the difference between super soul and the individual soul. Any questions? कुछ समझ में आया आज क्या? It was very confusing.
Little bit confusion.
So then ask because this chapter is very important.
I'm still not able to segregate consciousness and soul, actually, honestly. And when you are saying super soul is the consciousness of everybody, I thought super soul is Krishna himself, actually, and that is his consciousness. So
no. Remember we talked about three features: Brahman effulgence, Brahma Jyoti, Paramatma, super soul, and Krishna, the Bhagavan.
Yeah.
So there are three different features of the absolute truth.
Yeah, so he's Paramatma, actually. Super soul is Paramatma.
He's also Paramatma, yes.
And you are saying it is the consciousness of everyone combined together.
So it's the supreme consciousness. Super soul is supreme consciousness.
Exactly. Now, supreme I can digest, but I was not able to digest the consciousness of everyone.
Chalo,
Supreme
really good.
conscious of
As
God.
No,
long as we
honestly,
can,
I could not digest that one.
I'm glad that you finally able to digest because I did not want you to have indigestion because of what I said.
I was wondering, like, and I said I will ask you later on.
Okay.
But you caught me on the photo.
Good, good. That's good. That's very good.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Anything else that's not clear? Because I'm telling you, this chapter has got some very important concepts,
Yeah.
and it's very important that we understand. So if you have made any notes, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. No question is dumb question, and don't be shy. Nobody laughs at anybody.
Can you just please repeat those 5 features? So we have Brahm Jyoti, Brahm Nifaljas, Super Soul.
No, there are 3 features.
3.
So Brahman Effulgence and Brahma Jyoti, same thing. Brahman Effulgence in English, Brahma Jyoti in
English.
Sanskrit.
Paramatma and Super Soul.
So Super Soul, Paramatma in Sanskrit, Super Soul in English. The same thing.
Yeah.
And then Bhagavan,
Bhagwan.
or Supreme Lord or Krishna. They are the 3 features of absolute truth.
Sorry, just to make sure, Brahm Jyoti and Brahm Nifaljas is the same.
Brahman.
Is the same thing.
Same thing, yes. Just English and Sanskrit.
Oh, okay.
Jyoti means effulgence. Light.
Prabhuji, I remember that you, I mean, in the previous class, I mean, not in the previous class, like exact previous class, but in the previous sessions, one of the previous sessions, it is always better to worship or see Krishna as the third mode, whatever you said, instead of Brahma Jyoti or the Super Soul, right?
Bhagwan.
Okay. But even though these 3 modes are of God only, I mean, these are 3 modes of God, there is a differentiation between these 3. It is like one is superior than the other, right? Is that true?
Okay, so yeah. We don't use the word superior, inferior in this case. So there are 3 features. So it's a matter of understanding. So let me take an example. You have sun god, you have sun planet or the sun globe, and you have sun rays. Okay? So somebody who has developed an understanding of what sunshine is, what the sun rays are, his understanding is not wrong, but it's not complete because there's something beyond the sun rays. So Brahman effulgence is like sun rays. Somebody who only understands to that level does not have incorrect understanding, but has incomplete understanding. Above that is the sun planet. So somebody who understands the sun planet will obviously understand the sunshine or sun rays, right? So that's the second level of understanding, which obviously includes the first level. Anybody who understands the sun globe, the sun planet, will understand sunshine or sun rays. So that's the second level of understanding. But even that is not a complete understanding because this above that is the sun god, Surya Bhagavan. But if you understand sun god, then you understand sun globe and the sunshine. So that's the highest level of understanding. But none of the other 2 are wrong. This is incomplete. But if you understand sun god, it's a complete understanding. But then you understand the globe and the sun rays. So similarly, the absolute truth has 3 features. The lowest or the most incomplete understanding is Brahman effulgence, which is literally the rays of the body of the Lord. That's what Brahman effulgence is. There's nothing mysterious. It's the rays coming out of the body of the Lord. Just like the sun rays are coming out of the body of sun. Right? So that's Brahman effulgence. Somebody who understands that, not wrong, but has incomplete understanding. Because above that is the understanding of the super soul. That's like the body or the globe of the sun. So the one who understands super soul understands Brahman effulgence also. So his understanding is more complete than the one who only understands Brahman effulgence. None of them is wrong. It's just a question of degree of completion of understanding. But even the one who understands super soul does not have full understanding of absolute truth, because there's something beyond that. That's the personal feature of the God. That's Bhagavan itself. That's Krishna. So the one who understands Krishna understands super soul and Brahman effulgence automatically. Therefore, his understanding is complete. Right? So none of the three are wrong. It's just one is more complete than the other. Did that answer your question?
Yes. Okay. Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Okay. Shilpi, you were saying?
No, it's very good, like clear understanding. Thank you.
Okay, good. Rani, you're new, so I'm just going to ask you if it's making sense or you are getting lost a little bit.
Yeah, it is making sense. It's a bit confusing.
Yes, sure. So don't hesitate to ask.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, hopefully you're getting the sense that's very, very free environment. Nobody laughs at anybody. Nobody needs to hesitate to ask a question.
Yeah.
All questions are
Like
good.
there are so many questions like going on in the mind right now, but
Yes.
I'm trying to listen and understand, and
Sure.
then
Sure. Okay. Sure. Okay. Any other questions?
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So these souls will get the body form, right? It can be any form, like animal or human, any. So when will the soul thinks and decides, okay, now I have to take birth, or is it like, okay, the God will order, okay, now you have to take the rebirth?
So Krishna says that anyone who's born
have to die.
Must die. Actually, Giresh, that's part of the answer, the question you were asking. Jatasya dhruvam mrityu, dhruvam janmrityu. So anybody who dies must take birth, and anybody who takes birth must die. So that's a given. That's the law of nature. Now the question becomes, which body you get, and but even having decided that, so for example, this birth, however it happened, it was decided that you will get a human birth. So fine, that's the easy part. But can I please ask the names of your parents, mother and father, if you don't mind?
Oh, sure. My father's name is Sampath Iyengar and mother's name is Rukmini.
Rukmini? So then, having decided you get a human birth, somebody also must have decided that you get in the womb of Mother Rukmini. And you'll have parents, Mr. Sampath Rai and Mother Rukmini. Right? So that's the second level of decision.
Yeah.
Because there's 7.2 billion humans on this planet. Just this planet, forget about the rest of the planets and the universes. So there's choice of 7.2 billion. You could have gone to anyone. But why specifically that one, that couple, right? So that's another decision. So what happens is that the demigods, like the suns and the moon and the earth and the wind, etc., they're the witness to all your activities, and the super soul, of course. So they literally give their statements. This person did all this, therefore should get a birth in a family of this type. So for example, parents who are loving, parents who are rich, parents who really want a child, as opposed to parents who have nothing, mother who doesn't want a child, or in a sick body or a healthy body. All those decisions have to be made based on your activities. So the witnesses are the demigods of the super soul. And they say, okay, you go to this particular family, this particular womb, even as a human. Right? So all the decisions are made, yes.
And also they're going to decide like when it has to be.
Well, that's already decided. For each one of us decided, the moment of death is decided. And we don't leave the body until the next body has been decided. Where are we going? So the soul knows its destination before it leaves this body.
Oh, it's a continuous. There is no rest for the soul.
Well, there's no rest as such, but it can happen that it goes to hell, it goes to heaven, but they also gets a body. Sometimes it doesn't get any body, then it's called a ghost.
Oh, okay.
Right? So there are intermediate states also, but otherwise just keep coming back and going.
Got it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure. Okay. Everybody okay?
Yep.
All right, then we say goodbye. Say Vancha kalptarubhyascha kripasindhubhyeva patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Jai Shri Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
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 Thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
My